Jacob, we're back at Shook Book, the vlog in which two actors read books that in one way or another leave them shook. Jacob, you and I pretty recently had the stunning revelation that neither one of us believes in free will. I mean, not a stunning revelation to anybody who knows us really well, but it was a stunning revelation for you and me, both, I think. You see, I've never met anybody else who doesn't believe in free will, so I thought that was pretty cool. A big step towards developing this opinion for me came when I read Sapiens by Yuval Harari. I don't have a copy of it with me today, so I'm not going to wave it by my face. I just have a Kindle copy, so I'm going to read it from my computer, which is going to be super exciting and fun. Sapiens is a brief history of humankind. I'm going to read for you one of the earliest passages in this book that really left me shook. At this point, Harari is talking about how, up until a certain point in time, humans could really only exist in groups of about 150 individuals. This is because when the groups are that small, we are able to use gossip to decide who to trust and who should play what role within the community. Once we develop bigger groups of people, we need more structure, which is why companies and any sort of large group of people tends to have a structured hierarchy of leadership. How did Homo sapiens manage to cross this critical threshold, eventually founding cities comprising tens of thousands of inhabitants and empires ruling hundreds of millions? The secret was probably the appearance of fiction. Large numbers of strangers can cooperate successfully by believing in common myths. Any large-scale human cooperation, whether a modern state, a medieval church, an ancient city, or an archaic tribe, is rooted in common myths that exist only in people's collective imagination. Yet none of these things exists outside the stories that people invent and tell one another. There are no gods in the universe, no nations, no money, no human rights, no laws, and no justice outside the common imagination of human beings. I first read this book 2 years ago, right after I had graduated college, and I tried really hard to disagree with him. I mean, I definitely disagree with the statement, there are no gods in the universe. I mean, if we don't have enough evidence to prove the existence of God, we also don't have enough evidence to completely disprove the existence of God. But I get what he's saying, that even social justice is a social construct in exactly the same way that religion is. I said, no, there has to really be a reason why women are equal to men, and why all the races are equal, and why everybody deserves love and compassion, and why all genders are equal, and, on and on and on and on and on. And finally, I just had to accept that he's right. There's nothing tangible that makes any of that true. It could just as easily be true that there's an inherent hierarchy between different groups of people. And that's why for so long, that's exactly what humans have believed. Pretty much every society has had some sort of hierarchy that, whether formal or informal, that dictates who is at the top and who is at the bottom. The failure of those hierarchies lies in the inability for all of us to collectively believe in the fiction. Now, how does this relate to free will, you ask? Well, I read this and I said to myself, okay, so if I don't believe in inherent human rights anymore, then how do I live? And the explanation that I came up with was that I can't unbelieve that fiction. And the main reason I can't unbelieve that fiction is because I am a woman of color. Therefore, I benefit from the fiction that tells us that all people are equal. Not believing in that fiction makes it okay for people to oppress me. And I just can't swallow that. And I really pursued this too. I asked myself, okay, but why would that upset me if there's no rational reason why, if there's no truth that underlies my feeling that I don't deserve to be oppressed, then on what grounds can I possibly feel those feelings? That's when all of this clicked with what I've learned about feelings from my experience with mental illness. Sometimes we don't choose to feel feelings. Feelings feel us. And I really came face to face with that when I read this book, Sapiens, and tried so hard first to disagree with the author and then to agree with him. The fact is that I can't do both. Consciously, I agree with him, but unconsciously, I don't. I've so far reconciled this is just by saying to myself, well, this fiction has come so far that It is what makes people happy. And I believe that happy people are more productive and that society is better when people are happy. This, again, is a fiction that I believe, but it's also a fiction that lots of other people believe, and therefore it works. And that's what it comes down to. The fictions work the best the more people believe in them. I'm just gonna keep fighting for social justice and keep believing that all people are equal, even though fundamentally the only reason that I do it is because it makes me feel better. But I know it makes other people feel better too, so I'm okay with it. But wait a minute, the only reason I value making other people feel good, no, I have to stop this. I have to stop. It just never ends. Jacob, why don't you believe in free will? And what do you think that means for equality and social justice? On that very light note, I'll see you next time. Jacob, quick update. I realized after recording and editing this video that I really have two videos here. There's one about social justice and one about free will. And although the ideas are very intertwined for me, I had to cut a lot of the stuff about free will for the sake of brevity of this video. So next week there's going to be a part 2, including all the outtakes about free will that I had. So if you're wondering a little more about my views specifically about free will, if it doesn't make that much sense based on this video, don't worry, there will be more information for you. Thanks for watching. See you next time.